Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the greatest recordings ever. An endless series featuring some really amazing, fabulous feature recordings, some of which we've talked about before and others of which we haven't. And today we have talked about it briefly, but not really perhaps as much as its excellence deserves. It is the complete Mozart string quintets featuring the Auryn Quartet with Nobuko Imai, who's like the special guest viola soloist whenever you need one. Her and Tabea Zimmerman, you just sort of, pull them out of the closet, and there they are with their violas. Anyway, Mozart string quintets. What can we say about Mozart string quintets? You must have them. You must hear them. You must own them. Now, I can understand. These are works which are so iconic and like so much chamber music. It's very difficult to select sort of the best ever chamber music recordings because the level of playing in the chamber music world is just so damn high. People play so beautifully and so well. And for centuries, the perhaps reference for Mozart string quintets is the Grumio trio plus two other people, or Arthur Grumio plus other people. It's Arthur Grumio plus however many people it takes to do the quintets. And those are wonderful performances. They really are. The Juilliard Quartet did wonderful performances. You can find them fairly readily. However, this, I believe, is the greatest recording ever for several reasons. Number one, Tacet, the label. It's a small German label that does absolutely exquisite audio work. You see right here, it says that it's like an all-tube recording or something like that. Now, I'm not an audiophile, and I don't want to get into this business with tubes and schmoobs and boobs and whatever else they're doing. I don't care. All I know is that they sound fabulous, warm, natural, beautifully balanced, really just a magnificent preservation of the act of performing in sound. So that's a big deal. Number one. Number two, the Auryn Quartet. Oh my God, what a great group they were. I don't think they're still around, actually, but they did a complete Schubert quartet cycle on CPO, and they did a wonderful Beethoven cycle on Tacet, and most importantly of all the Haydn quartets on this label. And those also perhaps deserve mention in this series, and maybe they'll show up. Who knows? They really are an outstanding group. Really shockingly fine. The only reason that they aren't acclaimed with, I think, the brouhaha and festivity that they deserve is because they record on a small label. They never had big label promotion. But that just means it's my job to promote them. Now, let's talk about the music. Holy mackerel. Mozart string quintets are, first of all, there are two kinds of string quintets. There are quintets with two cellos and quintets with two violas. Boccherini and Schubert, they did the two cello kind. Mozart did the two viola kinds, as did like Mendelssohn and Brahms and those people. And they are absolutely the most glorious instrumental works that Mozart wrote. Really, they're better than his quartets. Well, you say better than, but on the whole, there's one early one, and then there are 5 later ones, and they're all late works. It's Kerschel 406 or 516B, if you want to call it that, which is a string quintet arrangement of a wind work, a wind partita. But it's gorgeous. It's in C minor and fabulously pathetic and full of romantic, smoldering passion and all that stuff. And then the others are 515, 516, 593, and 614. And the fact of the matter is that they were generally not written in clumps, like string quartets are done in groups of 6, but string quintets. There were no freestanding string quintets in Mozart's day, and there aren't any today. He wrote them for whatever reason he wrote them. And perhaps because of that, they've always been regarded as somewhat special. and rightly so. They are the extra viola, the one extra player, gave Mozart a certain freedom and richness of texture and confidence, maybe. I don't know. String quartets, even by Mozart, and when it did them besides Haydn, tend to get kind of overwritten. You've got four people, you've got to give them something to do all the time and all that. But when you have one extra player, you have many, many more possibilities in terms of instrumental combinations and accompaniments and all that kind of stuff. And for some reason, Mozart just reveled in this medium and wrote his arguably several of his greatest instrumental works. Now, it's impossible to choose a favorite. I mean, the E flat major 614 is kind of his tribute to Haydn. It's one of the most Haydn-esque pieces he wrote, full of humor and wit and intelligent use of timing. It's just brilliant. And the G minor, Herschel 516, one of the scariest pieces of music in the classical period. Really, really gripping. And Mozart, G minor was Mozart's personal minor key that he used for, the expression of tragic emotion and pathos. And, he always was at his best in G minor and D minor too. Well, he was always at his best whenever, after he was like 9. But, the problem with chamber works generally is that Mozart, is known for his symphonies and his operas, these big things, and, some choral works and whatnot. But really, the chamber works are as big as any of his largest orchestral pieces. I mean, in terms of form, some of them are bigger, and they're so emotionally intense, expressively rich, really astonishing. And because he was writing for his own circle of friends who are all professional players, really good players, although they say this is for domestic music making and whatnot. This is domestic music making at a very, very high level. He was really able to pour his soul into the music in a way that I think we don't find in some of his other large works, brilliant as they are. And the premieres of some of these works, I wish I had been there. I did a video, if I only could have been there. It was, they were premiered in the homes of the Viennese upper middle class, who had fine instrumentalists. But the bottom line is that Haydn and Mozart played the viola parts. And I wish I could have been there when they did them. I think it was after one of these performances of one of the quintets where Haydn said to Mozart's dad, Leopold, that Mozart was the greatest composer known to him at all ever in the history of humankind. And when you hear these pieces, you will agree. So don't let the fact that this is chamber music put you off. Yes, it requires a certain amount of concentration because it's wordless music, big wordless music that goes on for 30, 35, 40 minutes sometimes. But wow, what a treasure trove of richness. And these performances are absolutely outstanding. They're just as good as it gets in the world of chamber music today, which is as good as it probably ever can get. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.